Stat Rollers, Bill with RollStats. Today we're diving into Shadowdark Cursed Scroll Zine Volume 3, Midnight Sun. This is an absolute beast of a zine that expands Shadowdark into the cold, brutal, Viking-inspired world of the Isles of Andrik. You know, if you like sandbox hex-crawls, blood-soaked raids, mysterious old gods, and ferocious new character options, then stick around because this one's got a lot to cover. But before we go any further, this is your obligatory spoiler warning. We're talking about the nitty-gritty details of Midnight Sun in this video, so if you want to experience it firsthand, maybe send your GM this way instead and come back after your first playthrough. Alright, if you're still here, light your torch, steady your blade, and prepare for the Midnight Sun. The frozen north is calling and only the bold will answer. So, what is Cursed Scroll 3 Midnight Sun all about? This zine is a sandbox-style expansion that introduces the Isles of Andrik, a brutal frozen archipelago where fierce raiders, seers, and mysterious old gods rule. The book adds new classes, new magic, unique mechanics for seafaring combat, Viking-style oaths, and even divine reinforcements to keep things deadly and dynamic. It also features a massive hex-crawl, dozens of new monsters, and an epic dungeon delve in the form of the Hoard of the Sea Wolf King, which is a zero-level gauntlet adventures where players fight to claim their place among legend or die trying. This isn't just content, it's a full-on campaign expansion. So let's talk about new character options. Midnight Sun introduces two Viking-inspired classes that fit perfectly in a world of conquest and prophecy. The Sea Wolf class are seafaring raiders who prowl the Isles for plunder in dragon-headed longboats. When the war horn sounds, they become fierce berserkers and shield maidens who hope to please the old gods with a brave death. The Sea Wolf class really embodies the archetype of the Viking raider, blending martial prowess with divine blessings. So mechanically with this class, you're going to gain a few new traits that serve it really well, including Seafarer, right? The Seafarer trait gives you advantage on checks related to navigating and crewing boats, which, you know, any Viking needs, right? The Shield Wall trait lets you use your action to take a defensive stance, and it gives you an AC of 20 during that time. And then there's the Old Gods trait, which is really interesting. The Old Gods, Odin, Freya, and Loki, they're at the heart of the Midnight Sun setting, right? Like, so these gods don't just sit in the background. They influence characters, provide blessings, and demand sacrifice, right? So the Old Gods trait works basically like this. Each day your purpose aligns with one of the old gods, either Odin, Freya, or Loki. You receive a blessing from the god you pleased. Then after you complete a rest, you gain the benefits of that blessing until you complete your next rest. So with Odin's blessing, you regain D4 hit points every time you kill an enemy. With Freya's blessing, you gain a luck token if you don't have one. And each time you use a luck token, you add D6 to that luck token roll. And Loki's blessing gives you advantage on checks to lie, sneak, and hide, right? Things that you would expect from Loki. If you want to play as a Nord from Skyrim, or, you know, the classic Berserker, or if you just want to fight, live, and die gloriously, the Sea Wolf class is definitely for you. Then we have a new caster. The Seer Class are baleful diviners who reek of smoke and blood. They untangle the whispers of the gods by reading the runes, the bones, and the stars. Their knowledge of fate allows them to actually bend it. So with this class, you can cast seer spells you know from the new list, and each time you gain a level, you choose a new seer spell to learn. Seers use their wisdom stat to cast spells, and spellcasting checks follow, you know, standard Shadowdark spellcasting rules. Mechanically, in addition to new spells, you're going to gain a few new traits as a seer, including the Destined trait, which allows you to add D6 to the roll whenever you use a luck token, right? And the Omen trait, which allows you to make a DC 9 wisdom check 3 times a day, and on a success, you gain a luck token, but you still can't have more than one luck token at a time. The new Seer class brings a mystical element to the game, you know, allowing players to act as conduits for the gods. I really dig it. A new spellcaster is always appreciated. Magic is one of my favorite aspects of the Shadowdark core rule system. Speaking of the Seer, Midnight Sun adds a whole new type of thematic magic to the Shadowdark core rules. The Seer spell list, which includes spells like Loki's Trickery, which allows you to make anyone believe a statement, true or false, as absolute truth. So you target one creature who can hear and understand you within range, and then that target has to make a wisdom check versus your spellcasting check. If it fails, that creature believes what you stated as though it were fact, regardless of, you know, what it knows, right? Or Thor's Thunder, which allows you to call upon Thor himself, who will cast down a bolt of lightning to strike one target, causing 3d6 damage. Or my absolute favorite, Ragnarok, which instantly kills a target. Yeah, you heard that right. You choose one creature in range, and that creature must pass a con check equal to or better than your spellcasting check, or die instantly. The new Seer spells add a ton of flavor to Midnight Sun, not just in terms of mechanics, but in terms of roleplay. It really is a great addition to the Shadowdark core rules. Magic is my favorite part of Shadowdark, and this really adds to it nicely. So Midnight Sun also introduces quite a few new mechanics to the Shadowdark core rules, including boats and seafaring combat, with rules for longboats, naval battles, and overland portaging. And it introduces the idea of oaths and consequences. So your players can swear epic Viking-style oaths for permanent stat boosts, but failing to uphold those oaths means permanent curses. And it even adds this reinforcements mechanic, which is a new zero-level funnel mechanic to introduce new characters in creative, ridiculous ways, like being tied to a spit over a fire. Midnight Sun does a really great job at making your Viking adventures feel alive. Even if you're not playing Shadowdark, you can take any of these concepts and easily convert them to whatever system you're playing. It really is packed with a lot of cool ideas for Viking-style adventures. Monsters in Midnight Sun are as brutal as the setting. Some standouts include the Draugr, right? Ragged undead warriors dripping with blue-black grave rot who can pass through solid stone as if it were water. Basically White Walkers for Shadowdark, right? And Valkyries, angelic warrior women who Freya sends to carry the souls of worthy warriors who fell in battle to the halls of Valhalla. They are resistant to spells, requiring a DC 18 on the spellcaster's check in order to succeed. They're immune to morale checks and can only be injured by magical weapons. Good luck taking on a Valkyrie. And finally, the Drakes, right? Both lesser and greater, who are mountainous, fire-breathing dragonkin as fierce and wild as birds of prey. So they're immune to fire and can spit gouts of flames for huge damage. The new monsters in Midnight Sun are thematic, they're powerful, and they're a perfect addition to the core Shadowdark rules. They really round out the bestiary nicely. So at the heart of the Midnight Sun is its evocative setting, the Isles of Andrik. Ice-rimmed isles filled with plunging fjords and towering peaks, right? Drakes nestle high in these foreboding mountains, and the mythical Verg toil deeply within their roots. Hard-scrabbled fishers and farmers gather in smoky longhouses during the Arctic long dark, consulting, with their far-eyed seers about what the fates and the old gods plan for them. When the spring finally does come, it brings the Midnight Sun, and they transform into howling sea wolves sailing to distant shores in dragon-headed longboats to raid for gold and glory. Whether you're navigating Arctic seas, unearthing ancient secrets, or simply trying to survive the long dark, this Hex-crawl system with its dynamic encounters, richly detailed locations, and emphasis on environmental challenges turns exploration into a truly unforgettable experience. The very fabric of life revolves around the cycles of the Midnight Sun and the long dark, with each season bringing unique challenges. The Midnight Sun brings months of endless daylight, so it fills the Isles with an energy that drives activity, raiding, and exploration. This is the time of longships slicing through the fjords, of warbands clashing over sacred territories, and of adventurers delving into ancient caves revealed by melting ice, right? So mechanically, the sun never fully sets, and then there's enough light to see clearly outside at all hours. It clearly is an advantage to the players. Conversely, the long dark casts the Isles into unending night, plunging its inhabitants into a time of introspection, ritual, and survival, right? Light sources are essential as the darkness is a living threat, both figuratively and literally. Monsters stalk the shadows, and frost creeps into the bones of the unprepared. It's a season of storytelling by the hearth, of plotting vengeance or daring deeds to come, and of desperate survival as your supplies dwindle. Mechanically, night never ends, and only dark-adapted creatures can see without a light source, so it plays nicely against the advantage to the players for the midnight sun. The stark contrast between these seasons creates a dynamic backdrop for adventuring. Every decision, whether to push deeper into the wilderness or retreat to safety, carries added weight depending on the time of year. This setting simply screams Norse legend, and I love it. Finally, there's the adventure included in Zine 3, and it's the Hoard of the Seawolf King. This is an unforgettable zero-level gauntlet-style dungeon crawl that really captures the perilous tone of old-school dungeon crawling and the themes of Shadowdark itself. So the mightiest king of the sea wolves, Skorgald, lies entombed in the sea caves with the hoard he won, during his life of pillaging, right? It's said his rotting head rests on piles of gold, and his hands still clutch the bejeweled crosses and crowns he reaped from those he conquered. Raiding is the right of the strong, and so you go to the sea caves to seize your fortune and make your name, if you can, right? This zero-level gauntlet adventure takes place in the tomb of King Skorgald. Gauntlets are deadly, deadly affairs where life is fragile and glory is hard won, right? Players begin with 4 zero-level characters, each playing one at a time, and replacing from their pool if their current character dies, using that new reinforcements table, right? And die they will. They can expect sea caves filled with ancient treasures, deadly traps, and even deadlier foes. A troll's nest where cracked bones and crab shells litter the sparkling shore of this troll's cave, and countless Draugr, stingbats, bandits, and vengeful spirits, lurking around in the depths. It really is fantastic. It's a classic dungeon crawl at its finest, right? Hoard of the Seawolf King embraces the old school ethos of Shadowdark. This is not just a dungeon that holds your hand or guarantees success. The GM is encouraged to lean into the unpredictable nature of the game, creating a dynamic and immersive experience where the player's choices shape the outcome. And I love it. There is no hand-holding going on in this adventure. So what's the final verdict on Midnight Sun? Is Cursed Scroll 3 Midnight Sun worth picking up? Should you add this to your Shadowdark library? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. This zine packs so much content into a single issue. If you love Shadowdark or you just want to add some Viking-inspired mayhem to your campaign, this zine, it really is a must-buy. Cursed Scroll 3 Midnight Sun exemplifies everything that makes Shadowdark great. Evocative settings, innovative mechanics, and immersive storytelling opportunities. Its blend of Viking-inspired themes, dynamic gameplay, and high-stakes adventure makes it a standout entry in the Cursed Scroll series. In fact, this is my second favorite. Like, my first favorite is Diablerie, this is my second favorite, and then Red Sands is my third. Although they're all great, right? But I want to know what you think. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think of Midnight Sun. Do you own it? Have you played through the Hoard of the Seawolf King? What did you think? Let me know. I want to know what you think of this zine and the content that it adds to Shadowdark. And hey, if you haven't even tried Shadowdark RPG yet, great news! You can grab the Shadowdark RPG Quick Start set for free at the Arcane Library. That way you can see what all the hype is about before diving in. I've dropped a link in the description for both the free Shadowdark RPG Quick Start set and Cursed Scroll Volume 3 Midnight Sun, both available at the Arcane Library. Okay, that's going to do it for today, Stat Rollers. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe for more TTRPG content. I've got quite a few reviews coming covering a wide variety of classic OSR and indie games and supplements, including more Shadowdark. And remember to drop a comment below letting me know what you thought of Cursed Scroll number 3 Midnight Sun. Let's talk about it. Really, I want to know your thoughts. So until next time, light your torch, steady your blade, and prepare for the Midnight Sun, because winter is coming, my friends, and may the dice roll ever in your favor.